which is very common nowadays.
Right.
Not to accept. Accept would be a difficult.
That's the main point. So in that particular case,
Definitely will not fall in 115 BBE. It will be a regular business. If it is retailer, then or if it is below 2 lakh or 2 crores, then you will fall into presumptive. Above that, those all other provisions you will be covered by. Why you have to go in 115 BBE? I'm not either. I'm not understood your question, or.
so the point is, let's say suppose there is a retailer who has already got the sales, when he had done the sales. Now,
And he has deposited that cash into the bank.
He has deposited the cash into the bank.
Yeah.
Let's assume it is a 1 crore of rupees which has got deposited.
So he has all of old notes.
All of old notes which has got deposited. Now the officer at the end of the day is going to consider and challenge about the source of it.
See, now let me tell you. The facts, if the person is trying to twist the facts, then it would be really difficult. For example, never in the past he has deposited anything more than 1 lakh of rupee, this retailer. And now after this demonetization, he says that my sales is so much and I have deposited 1 crore rupee. Not very easy to explain. But if it's a regular practice, he has been depositing it. It's a retail shop. He has been getting cash sales and he has been depositing it. There is absolutely no question for an assessing officer to not to accept this.
Right.
In the case of bullion dealers, someone doesn't have cash sales for last 1 year.
Bullion dealers we will deal it little separately, because bullion dealers, let me tell you, they are very correctly prejudiced also. Not all, I must say, but 90% people, they are the party to sabotage this entire scheme of the model. Along with the bank, they are the party. So not to talk about this bullion dealers, I am facing this directly also for my clients, but let it be little separate. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just connecting this to the cases which were in relation to those.
Yeah. I think we will discuss this maybe offline at the time of tea.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Coming to Pradhan Mantri Ji Kalyan Yojana, let me call it as a scheme which is inserted, and the sections applicable are 199A to 199R, which you will find it in our Finance Act 2016. What is the object and reason? Here also, friends, it is very important, the object and reasons. In the wake of declaring specified notes as legal tender, there have been representations and suggestions from experts that instead of allowing people to find illegal ways to convert their black money into black again, the government should give them an opportunity to pay taxes with heavy penalty and allow them to come clean, so that not only the government gets additional revenue for undertaking activities for the welfare of the poor, but also the remaining part of the declared income legitimately comes into the formal economy. Thus, money coming from additional revenue as a result of the decision to ban ₹1,500 notes can be utilized for welfare scheme for poor. The confusion will come little later when it starts with saying that because of this demonetization, the black money, they have received representations कि अभी सबको official बनना है, then fine, this scheme is there. But again saying that because of that 1,000 rupees notes and 500 rupees notes have been deposited, there would be a conflict which will come to that little later. The scheme provides an opportunity to persons having undisclosed income in the form of cash or deposit in an account maintained with the specified entity. Specified entities are all bank, Reserve Bank of India and post offices, and others which will be notified when we don't know. Undisclosed income is not defined in the scheme. Neither it is defined in the Act. Income Tax Act also we don't have. Therefore, a small correction over here also, friends. Income which has neither been included, let us make it income chargeable to tax, which has neither been included in the return of income by the assessee nor assessed in his hands, can be considered as undisclosed income. This is what we would understand what undisclosed income could be. The correction is income chargeable to tax. So include the words chargeable to tax in between income and which?
The first one.
The first one. And in explanatory notes and on side of margin in the relevant section of the Finance Act, the word undisclosed income has been used number of times. So it's not that it's a new thing for this scheme also, as far as the undisclosed income word is there. Period of the scheme, it starts from 17th December till 31st of March 17. What is the scope of the scheme? Let us come to that. A declaration under the said scheme may be made in respect of any income in the form of cash or deposit in any account maintained by the person with a specified entity, chargeable to tax under the Income Tax Act for any assessment year prior to assessment year 17-18. So 17-18 and any earlier assessment years, any can be covered for this. No deduction, that the same section, subsection 2, what we saw, no deduction, etc. will be allowed. Amount payable on undisclosed scheme. It is the tax of 30% plus 10%, that is one third of the tax, that is Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan cess, which is 9.9%. Penalty of 10%, which comes to total of 49.9%. Further, that has to be increased. The person needs to make a deposit of 25%, and that aggregate will come to 74.90%. For our reference purpose, let us understand it is a 75%. The deposit that of 25% which will be made is interest free and refundable only after 4 years from the date of deposit. But friends, if you see 75%, and there we saw 77.25%, so still it is better than the 150 BBE. Now, how do we reconcile the object that we read and the provision that we read now? We saw that, friends, object says, in wake of declaring specified bank notes as not legal tender, and it runs down thus saying that money coming from additional revenue will be used for the purpose of welfare of the poor. Does it not mean that deposit made prior to 9/1/2016 and deposit made after 31/12/2016 should not be covered? If it is only for demonetization and 1,000 and 500 rupees notes, then only those deposits between those periods are to be covered for the scheme. But if you read the provision, that is not the case. The provision says, any person may make a declaration in respect of any income in form of cash or deposit for any assessment year, on or before assessment year 17-18. So even before Modi ji became a PM, that year also can be considered. Now, to reconcile it is because of this demonetization, the people are fearing now that something more is going to come. So the representations were sent to them. They have considered those representations, and that's why this scheme is there, that all right, अभी भी जो IDS के बाद बच गया है 2 नंबर का पैसा, 2 नंबरिया, still we are giving you an opportunity that okay, you come out clean and pay the taxes as per this scheme. If that is the case, then why do you restrict for cash and the deposits as specified with the bankers? That will be a question which we need to consider. Let us consider this again by way of a small case study. There were 3 brothers, A, B and C. They all had undisclosed income of 10 lakhs which was earned in financial year 15-16 and through the same sources. So there was no difference of any source. A had kept cash in denomination of ₹100 and deposited it in his saving bank account on 30th November 2016, that is during this demonetization. B had spent the entire 10 lakh rupees in the wedding of his son, that is in April 2016. And C had put in his saving bank account, and Then after purchase stock of rupees 6 lakhs and that is shares of 6 lakhs and gold ornaments of rupees 4 lakhs from the amount of from the saving account in the month of May 2016. The question comes, can A, B and C all be eligible to declare under this scheme? If not, whether it will be treated as discriminatory? If yes, discriminatory, immediately the president will say that why should we not cover it? Is it or is it not? We have a simple example, and this would be a very, very common, it's, I would say, quite like vanilla. Can they all three declare, can they all three not? Answer. My view. I don't have an answer, my view. Technically, the answer is there. Only. Right. Technically, only A can do that. Very correct. But what about C? C had deposited that amount in the bank. He had kept it for some time. And then after in the May, he has withdrawn it and he has used that fund. He has changed the form of the asset. So C also can? थोड़े बोलते हैं, थोड़े नहीं बोलते. So there are little bit of chances.
Anytime before.
B. Yeah. B. No. So what he has to do? नहीं है भाई स्कीम चालू है ना. 115 BBE. That तो at least you accept 77% loan लेके tax भर दो, on which you don't pay interest. If you pay interest, that is also not allowed as an expenditure. That is the option available.
He has got source of income.
So we should file it.
In the income tax return, he should file and declare income tax.
जरूरत क्या है?
Sorry.
E को जरूरत क्या है?
ओ, B को जरूरत क्या है? जैसे वो तो पकड़ा जाएगा ही नहीं. उसने 10 लाख रुपया डिपॉजिट किया है.
ABC are not a partner.
They are not partners. They are all independent, different, same source. एक दलाल आया था, उसने 10-10 लाख तीनों को दिया. चुना तुम्हारे पिताजी देके गए होंगे. कभी दलाली थी वो. चलो ना, understanding that. Same source. That's why not to complicate. See, if you complicate already, there is too much of complication. So that's why I didn't want it.
Whenever once I have got source of income, then I cover the normal provision of income tax. Why go for all this 115 BB?
No, it doesn't have it. That's not. It's undisclosed. I have mentioned that. You don't twist it. Dinesh, already it is a undisclosed income. Undisclosed income it is the same source. We understand? Undisclosed is the same. It doesn't have. Otherwise, people will add something more. So to make it simple. Anyway. So that problem will be there. I do not myself have an answer. The best part would be if the brain trustees, by any chance, if we have this question and if we can
It's not directly.
pose to them, indirectly, if you can pose to them, Okay,
Sir, इसमें
कुछ रास्ता है.
नहीं टेक्निकली तो ये कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. इसी को तो एक और प्रॉब्लम.
अरे आपको नोटिस आ गया, लेट मी अंडरस्टैंड. आपने शादी किया था, आपने जिस जिम खाना में शादी किया था, वहां से आपको इनकम टैक्स को नोटिस, इनकम टैक्स के पास इंफॉर्मेशन है, आपको नोटिस आ गया. तो प्रॉब्लम तो है, ऐसा तो है. आप तो इतना सिंपल लाइफ होती है तो यार इतना सब मिलते ही नहीं आपको. सॉरी, very rapidly,
The scheme provides an opportunity to persons having undisclosed income in the form of.
That's the reason. That's why I am considering this. That's the reason why there's a conflict.
सर ये
Okay. बस please.
ये जो योजना है, ये सिर्फ डिमोनेटाइजेशन के नोट वालों को है क्या?
No.
नहीं ना,
Not at all.
क्योंकि
Not at all.
in Nasik, Chief Commissioner Mr. S.C. Shukla has called a meeting of we people. Mr. Ratu was also there. We were there. What he told in his speech that if you have some asset, today also you can encash that and deposit the amount into bank and declare the asset and use this. Can it be? Yes.
Why not? Why not?
So it means
Yes,
that,
you are a good planning.
that AC has given this, CC has given this.
Whatever. You are the source for us. So what his question is? His question is: you have an asset today. You have an asset today. and you just convert that into cash. You deposit that into cash. That cash may be deposited in the bank, and you can take the opportunity of this scheme. There is no restriction. Provided you can provided that buyer of your gold. किसने बोला gold investment? इसलिए मैं gold बोल रहा हूँ. The buyer of the gold वो क्या करेगा? आपको चेक कैसे कैश देगा?
नहीं एसेट नहीं, मकान है जो मेरी पुरानी प्रॉपर्टी है.
तो
above
rupees 2 lakhs का जो भी कैश ट्रांजैक्शन जो सपोज टू रिपोर्ट
हाँ तो सामने रिपोर्ट करेगा ना. मेरी जो अनरिकॉर्डेड है मैंने वो बेच दिया और इसमें अगर मैंने डिक्लेयर कर दिया.
that transaction is official. You need to say that transaction is official, right? And he will give you cash.
He will give me
check
deposit.
So he gives you a check, and you show that at the time of declaration you show that is a deposit appearing in my bank.
Acquisition is
That because is mentioned to speak.
unaccounted property.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, I think everybody is clear. I don't think so. There is a problem.
What happens to the CG?
Capital gain. There will be double
What
whammy.
happens to the capital gain?
There is a double whammy. No? Double whammy.
That asset is becha.
Asset बेचा है, फिर किसी लगेगा.
बेचा है
मकान में मत जाना. वो प्रॉब्लम है. मकान का there are other consequences are there.
Any other asset?
But an other asset also, if it is undisclosed, the asset is undisclosed, so your sales, you are not disclosing your sales.
No.
cannot be.
We are taxing entire consideration.
process gets covered.
No. Listen. Only thing is, the amount of this scheme, this will not be covered in part of your total income. This is other than your total income. So, whatever sales proceeds that you have realized, that has gone to the bank.
Then you are eligible.
So, you will not be covered in your total income at all, because you are covered by the scheme. So, it is not in your total income that you are covered. The only question may come that if the department has or any other authority has, they may not send the information to any authorities. If they have some information that you have carried out your sale transaction, in that case then they can question you or issue a notice that yes, what about the capital gain, you have not paid this capital gain.
That's double tax.
Then that will be a problem. That's what I'm saying. Then that will be a problem.
That this is no solution. There certainly will be a problem. Either way, whatever you do.
So मकान का तो है.
मकान का नहीं कुछ भी चीज
Any immovable property.
Then immovable other asset means you have to sell it in the other
Value of
building.
consideration has been taxed, so where is the portion of capital gain to be added separately?
That is not tax. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not part of your total income. It's in the scheme. It's a scheme.
Different scheme.
So wherever if you are caught that yes you have sold this asset, then you are in a problem. If you are not caught that you have not sold it, like this gentleman who says, कि कुछ नहीं होगा अभी इसी को, तो कोई problem नहीं है. Come on, let us actually.
So in case of
The benefit, something on this only.
Yeah, what he's saying is that undisclosed should be income should be in the form of cash or deposit.
Yeah.
In case of B, before incurring expenditure, I had it in form of cash, so I can disclose. Till the tax.
So you agree with what Dinesh Bhai says?
Nahin.
I doubt.
I agree, but I have my own doubts. I have my own. See, if you read the provisions, it's very clear. But that is the reason why there should be a clarification. This scheme is not still properly drafted. They have done too much of rush, and they have come out with this scheme. They have got the representations and they threw out the scheme out. But unless there's some clarifications come on this, we will not be able to give our opinions on this.
Specified entity.
Okay, now certain persons will not be able to take the benefit of the schemes, and the persons who are already covered in COFEPOSA prosecutions have been launched for so many cases. Then after special court and the Black Money Act is applicable, where those persons will not be able to take the benefit, and there is no restriction as we had the restriction in IDS that if any proceedings are going on, 148 notice is issued or notice under 143(2) is issued, etc. You cannot take the benefit of that. Here, absolutely nothing, no conditions. You can straight away go for this scheme, so that here some persons can take the benefit wherever the assessments are pending or 148 notices are issued, and they know it that my bank account will abhi aa jayega dhyan mein. That person can take the benefit of this scheme and pay the taxes as required under the scheme. Now, what is the conflict between the provisions of IDS and the scheme? If a such action under 132 was conducted on 5/1/2017 that is for assessment year 11-12 to assessment year 16, that is the block period of 6 years, the notice issued will be under 153A, and that is issued in the month of April. Now, as per IDS, the notice which is issued in April 2017, it will be presumed to be the income of that year. Whereas, if you see, that is as per section 197 and as per section 197C, what I told you is that as per section 197C of IDS, since the notice is issued in previous year 17-18, the income is deemed to accrue in assessment year 18-19. Whereas the scheme permits the declaration of undisclosed income only if it is chargeable to tax in assessment year 17-18 or earlier assessment years. Therefore, this is a conflict. I understand section 197C itself is a conflict. Whether that provision can be there or not, that itself is presuming that provision is correct. I am presuming on that presumption I am discussing this.
Today morning, speaker said they are going to amend that in the budget.
So good. If the 148 is going to be amended. 148 is going to be
Hindustan tax.
Sorry?
Today, Hindustan
Source.
Acha.
Source Hindustan Times.
Source is
Is going to be retrospective.
now whether they can really do that. Another word for our
But
law
again, you will have to
representation.
change 6 etc. That was it.
Sir, you are a इधर नहीं उधर
In IDS, notifications were issued to ensure confidentiality. Here, there is no such notification, because the worry is always being that if the same declaration is being used by some sales tax authority, service tax authority, there would be a problem. But here we do not have any such confidentiality which we had in IDS. So to that extent, some clarifications are required. Here, can the declarations be withdrawn? Why I am getting this clue is because in IDS we saw a number of declarations have been withdrawn. How they have been withdrawn? Because in IDS, if the taxes are not paid, it is automatically presumed to have been withdrawn. Whereas in this scheme, after paying the taxes, you need to attach the proof of the taxes paid and the deposit receipt of that 25%. Only thereafter, form number 1, that is the declaration, will be submitted. And the provisions are also very clear that in no circumstances the amount deposited will be refunded. So therefore, there is no question of any withdrawal as far as the scheme is concerned. But IDS did have this. As far as the procedure is concerned, friends, this is not a tested one. I don't know whether any hiccups are there or not, because still the people have not started coming out, taking the benefit of this scheme. However, as per the rule that has been prescribed, this is a procedure which is laid down, and you can do it online also, and you can even file to your regular jurisdiction commissioner as well as to the CPC commissioner your form number 1. Friends, with these words, I thank you for this particular session, but as assured and as commitment taken by me, by the chairman, that I need to cover up the survey also. Do I have 10 minutes or?
You should.
Okay. He says you should. Right. I agree with him, because that is what the commitment made towards the members. Friends, why I wanted to bypass this for the simple reason that you people have already been taxed by 2 sessions on this survey. And the survey, whether it's a specific survey or a general survey, the provisions remains the same. Rather to tell you, I am being told to deal on surveys on TDS and survey on recovery. Now, as far as the survey of TDS or TCSs are concerned, if you see chapter 17B and double B, that is TCS, there is no provision in that chapter as regards the survey. Same way, the recovery provisions also under chapter 17 capital D, there is no recovery, there is no survey provisions specifically for those areas. However, the common survey provisions which you have already learned in the morning will only apply. Just the difference I would say is the practical part. Survey under income tax, the purpose is to detect undisclosed revenue. That is the major purpose to disclose. Whereas survey under TDS, the purpose is to identify the defaults, whether he has submitted the quarterly statements, that also for that purpose also, whether he is been deducting the TDSs properly or not, ECSs have been properly collected or not. That is the purpose of this surveys. And those surveys are done normally by in Bombay, if it is there, then it's a separate TDS wing that we have. Those people are doing it. And for a specific, with a specific aim they do it. Of course, the common aim we all know, we don't want to discuss that. But apart from that, for example, a few years back, share brokers were surveyed by the jurisdiction officers as well as by the TDS department. The reason being that according to them, the share brokers were required to deduct taxes for the payments made to the stock exchange, whether BSE or NSE, etc. And they said that all those payments which are made to stock exchange are covered under section 194J. Though we have a Supreme Court, before that we had Bombay High Court, which also concurred with their view that yes, TDS was required to be deducted. And we have Supreme Court today saying that no, TDS is required to be deducted. So all the surveys made were not required because of the Supreme Court decision. Nevertheless, is there a real requirement to do survey for just merely to tell that broker that look, you are supposed to deduct TDS? You can always call this information, issue him a notice, call the information, and then accordingly take the action. They are not invited guests. The survey parties are never the invited guests. Same way, the second, if you see, banks were surveyed. They took out the list from them, saying who are the persons or the retailers who are using credit cards. Thereafter, they went to those parties that look, you have credit card. The bank charges that were paid were treated as a commission under section 194H. Whether it's a commission, it's not a commission. We have a number of decisions to say that yes, there is no commission involved in that. It's nothing but the nomenclature says it's a bank commission. Otherwise, it's nothing. It's the charges that they are paying. But however, we have surveys for them. So there are specific surveys. So the main motive of these survey parties of TDS who are carrying out the TDS is on your debit side, that is the expenses side. They want to see the expenses side, the general survey people see your income side. That how to increase that, and here they see your expense side. More so, they do verify your agreements also. From the agreements, they come to know whether you are covered. Is it a contract or is it not a contract? Lower rate tax, what have been deducted, whether that was required, not required. So to that extent, the surveys which otherwise these all could have been avoided, yes sir, right, which otherwise could have been avoided by mere issuing the notices, calling the SSEs to your office, income tax department, asking for the details and taking the call whether any taxes were required to be deducted or not required to be deducted. But nevertheless, this is not been the case. The second important thing one needs to take care is what are the places that can be surveyed for the TDS purpose. We all know otherwise it's where the places carrying on the business that is there. In addition to that, if a principal officer, the assessing officer issues a notice saying that I want to treat particular person as a principal officer as per section 235, if you do not object to that, in that case that person where he sits also can be surveyed. he can be held as an principal officer, and that area also can be surveyed.